Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I never thought one weekend could erase years of friendships, but that's exactly what happened. My name is Claire. I'm 32, and until recently I believed what happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas. I was wrong. It started as a girls' trip. 4 of us. Neon lights, overpriced cocktails, and that electric feeling of being somewhere no one knew us. I'd been dating Evan for almost 2 years at the time. Things weren't perfect, but I wouldn't have called them broken either. Comfortable. Predictable. Maybe too predictable. The first night was harmless. Dancing, laughing, complaining about men like we always did. Somewhere between the third drink and the loud music, a thought crept in. I was still young. I deserved fun. Everyone says that, right? I didn't text Evan that night. I told myself it was fine. The second night was different. We met 2 guys at a rooftop bar. Confident. Charming. The kind of men who look you in the eyes when they talk. I remember thinking how easy it felt. No history. No expectations. Just attention. Real attention. One thing led to another, and I crossed a line I'd sworn I never would. Then I crossed it again. The morning after, the guilt hit hard. My friends brushed it off. You're not married. It was just Vegas. Evan doesn't need to know. I nodded along, desperate to believe them. I flew home convinced I could bury it. I couldn't. Evan noticed something was off almost immediately. He always did. I was distant. Defensive. Jumpier than usual. A week later he asked me directly if something happened on the trip. I laughed. Too fast. Too loud. I told him he was being insecure. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. 2 days later he told me he knew. Apparently one of my friend's boyfriends had seen photos on social media. Nothing explicit. Just enough dots to connect. Evan didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just looked at me like he didn't recognize me anymore. That look scared me more than anger ever could. I tried to explain. I told him it didn't mean anything. I said I was drunk. I said it was a mistake. He listened quietly, then said something I wasn't ready for. I can't be with someone I don't respect. That word. Respect. It landed harder than any insult. He broke up with me that night. Clean. Final. No promises to talk later. No dramatic exit. Just gone. I thought that would be the worst of it. I really did. A week later I noticed something strange. Group chats went quiet. Invitations stopped. Messages were left on read. At first I assumed people were busy. Then one of my closest friends finally called me. Evan told people what happened. My stomach dropped. I asked who. She hesitated before saying, everyone. I felt exposed. Humiliated. Angry. How dare he? That was private. That was between us. I went straight to damage control mode, texting friends, explaining my side, emphasizing how hurt I was that he'd shared it. The responses were colder than I expected. Some didn't reply at all. Others sent short messages about needing space. One friend told me outright that she didn't want that kind of drama in her life. Another said she couldn't trust me around her husband anymore. That one hurt more than I care to admit. I kept thinking they'd come around. They always had before. I was the fun one. The honest one. The one who said what everyone else was thinking. But this time that reputation worked against me. I started hearing things indirectly. That I was reckless. That I lacked boundaries. That I'd crossed a moral line and expected sympathy for it. Evan hadn't exaggerated. He hadn't twisted the story. He just told the truth calmly without trashing me. Somehow that made it worse. One night I ran into him at a mutual friend's birthday dinner. He was polite. Distant. Unbothered. People gravitated toward him, laughing easily, while I sat there feeling like an outsider in my own circle. I realized then that he hadn't just walked away from me. He'd walked forward and people followed. I went home that night and cried, not because I missed him but because I missed who I used to be before everyone knew. Before my mistakes had a reputation attached to them. I told myself I was being punished unfairly. That men cheat all the time and don't lose everything. But deep down I knew something else was at play. This wasn't about Vegas. It was about trust. About character. About the quiet judgment that comes when people decide you're not who they thought you were. The hardest part wasn't losing Evan. It was realizing that actions don't just end relationships. They redefine how people see you. And once that picture changes, you don't get to control it anymore. I still replay that weekend in my head, wondering which moment sealed my fate. The bar. The laughter. The decision to believe nothing would follow me home. I thought freedom meant no consequences. Turns out it just delayed them. And now, the people I thought would always be on my side are choosing distance over loyalty. Not because Evan asked them to, but because they decided on their own that this wasn't something they wanted to stand next to.